Hi, this is Lana Lisa Williams, aka Survival Woman, and today is Tuesday, May 17, 2022, and I'm wearing my real jade earrings from New Zealand, where I used to live. In New Zealand, the Maori people call this punamu, and it's found in the rivers of the South Island, which is the most beautiful place in the world. And if you have a chance, look at my YouTube channel and check out my videos of New Zealand, which are more like slideshows, but still there's a lot of beauty there. Anyway, so yeah, I've traveled. I spent 5 years teaching English overseas in Russia, Turkey, and China. I lived in the north part of England in North Yorkshire. I lived in New Zealand. I actually lived there for a while, and I rented houses in those places and lived under their economy and did photos and wrote some books. And I was traveling around the world, and then 2020 hit. Yep. And suddenly all that stopped for all of us. And honestly, I think any of us who lived through 2020 are survivors, and we probably have PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, because it was very stressful having to be locked into one room or our home or, alone. So many people were forced to be alone, and that's hard. It's lonely, and a lot of people actually committed suicide, and so many people died of drugs. The real pandemic was the fallout from forced lockdowns and open borders in America, the drugs, fentanyl, suicide. You check the numbers, you'd be surprised. What's the number one cause of death now in America for certain age groups, like 18 to 30 or something like that? It's overdose of drugs. Yep. It's not COVID. It's not some virus. By the way, COVID had a less than 1% death rate. Wow. It was all about control. The Spanish flu in 100 years ago had a 40% death rate. Now there's a virus to respect. Anyway, I lived in China for 2 years. I saw a lot of things. I'm not at all surprised that the Chinese government loosed that virus onto people, probably with help from certain American scientists. Yep, there's a trail there. There's a money trail, sad to say. A lot of people profited on this, like Pfizer, and those companies have become such multi-billion, even probably trillion-dollar companies for vaccines and face masks and hand sanitizer. You get the idea, the control. Well, if you've ever worked for the government, you might realize you don't want the government to control your life. The government is bureaucratic. It's not well organized. It's fractured. It's bogged down in too many badly written sentences and books. It needs a good English teacher to take a red pen and strike through so many useless words and unnecessary payments of money that could really help people. Yeah, so we have a baby formula shortage in America now, and our president Biden is wanting to send like billions of dollars to Ukraine, which, yeah, I like Ukraine. I've been there. I taught English in Russia, and I went to Kiev. Yeah, I have a friend there, a couple of friends from social media. But really, we don't have baby food in America for the babies. And how are our borders open wide? And all the things are pouring in that are destroying us. And no one has to fire a shot. That's the sad part. Pretty sure China's happy about it, and Russia too. I was in Turkey for 2.5 years, and they had really good food and friendly people, but they do have a dictator. It's sad to see so many places around the world, the government trying to control the people. So if you've ever worked for the government, or had much to do with bureaucracy, you know that it's not a good thing to control your life. You should be able to control your own life, make your own decisions, and use your own brain. So I just had to say all that because 2020 was traumatic for all of us. And I think we all have PTSD. And it was harder for those who are in prison. Imagine going through 2020 and 2021 and half of 2022 locked inside a cell in prison, a small cell behind bars, when previously, before the governor of California closed all private prisons, you had a dormitory situation and you could wander the halls and go out in the yard and have programs and education. And suddenly you're behind bars in a cell and sometimes locked down for weeks and wearing masks everywhere and having to get a vaccine that's not well tested, or you can't ever have a visitor. They didn't have much choice in there. Yeah, I'm sure some prisoners died of COVID. People did die, especially older people. It seems to have been designed that way. But imagine being in a prison during COVID in 2022 and after. So it's been over 2 years since the governor of California locked down California. Hey, Governor Newsom, you're up for re-election. You never called me in 3.5 years. I've been trying to contact you. So the Governor Newsom of California, locked down our state in March of 2020. We were the first of all 50 states to go into lockdown, and we had the most extreme lockdowns, the strictest stay or shelter in place rules, all the schools closed. It was really traumatic. And I hope we get a new governor in California, because Governor Newsom completely ignores my many pleas to free my husband, Jose, from prison. So this is kind of a show and tell video, and I could have broken it up into lots of little videos, but I thought I'd just go for it. So I'm going to show you some pretty things my husband made for me. I'm going to turn the camera around. So I like butterflies. And this is a butterfly tray that I bought when I was shopping with my daughter Jessica at a store. And it was kind of expensive. And I thought, I'm not paying money for that. But it's really a nice tray. And it's hard, and you can set drinks on it. And it has really pretty butterflies. I love butterflies. Anything with wings I love. And these are some of my husband's butterflies he drew by hand for me, missing me. Colors of Ukraine, ironically, yellow and blue. Sometimes he would do pink and blue, thinking of you. There's butterflies in just pencil. There's a pink and blue butterfly with a hummingbird. The first card my husband ever drew by hand for me had hummingbirds. Here are more hummingbirds. Interesting that someone who lives in a cell behind bars draws beautiful pictures by hand in bright colors of things that have wings. There's one of my favorites. I have blue eyes and blonde hair. I was born that way. And my husband has brown skin and brown eyes and black hair, and I love the contrast. And he did this of my eyes, and inside there's a cool self-portrait of him lifting weights and looking all hot and sexy and handsome. Because sometimes he just has to use water bottles and lift weights right there in his cell when he can't go out in the yard. I love this butterfly because it's got beautiful bright colors. It looks so real. So in the back, I have more. I'm going to show you this one of an angel. My daughter said it was a little risque, but I think it's beautiful. Jose drawing himself as an angel and me in the sky. And on the right side is us with the stars. See how the stars continue from one side to the other? That's really good art. Can you see that? Yeah, that's really good art. And then on the right is how we would have been if we had been children together on the beaches of Mexico. He's from Mexico, and I speak Spanish. Thank God I learned that as a teenager. Yeah, I'm from San Diego. Spent a lot of time in Mexico. That's the most beautiful card he ever made me, all by hand, and I love him. And he drew me as Wonder Woman. Pretty, it's not risque. She's got she's got a bodysuit, like a swimsuit on. There's her sword and her shield, and there's stars. Notice the stars, the theme of stars. And this is my favorite thing of all he made me. Look at the detail in that. And you can see the little feet tucked in of that hummingbird, and it looks like it's glowing. Look at the feathers. And there's a butterfly, the most beautiful, bright blue. And he signed his name from your husband, Jose Armendiola. And look at that hummingbird. And one has red on the neck and the other has blue. And they're both have green. Green is his favorite color and blue is mine. So I imagine the top one is him and the bottom one is me, dipping into the rose. And that one dipping into the rose. Things with wings, because a prisoner wants to fly away. Who wants to go into a prison? Not many people, but I do. And I've only been able to visit Jose twice in Corcoran State Prison, where he was sent after Governor Newsom closed all the private prisons that were really nice. In the private prison, we could walk for hours alone on a courtyard, holding hands, hugging, kissing, sitting at our table and sharing thoughts and holding hands and eating. And at Corcoran State Prison, it looks like something out of Siberia, Russia. And I lived in Russia and taught English there. Russia really knows how to do prisons in Siberia. They just send people there and those people are never seen again. Communism killed hundreds of millions of people. So if you think that's a good idea, you ought to go live in Russia. Live in China. See how that works out for you. The people of Shanghai have been under forced quarantine for so long. What a beautiful city. I do digress. But I have been to these places, to real gulags in real communist countries in the middle of real nowhere. And Corcoran State Prison is like that. It has walls and towers, and it's scary looking. And I've done videos of it. And obviously I can't take my camera in there when I go visit Jose to do a video from inside, although I did do one from the parking lot rather quickly. And I turned the camera to the side so you couldn't even see it very well. Probably that's a good thing, so I won't get in trouble. So my husband's in Corcoran State Prison, and I've got a little secret. We have not officially been married yet. We were supposed to do it 2.5 years ago when Jose was still in the private GEO prison in McFarland, California, where I used to visit him, and we had 6 hours every day, or 6.5 of total freedom to visit. He was in that prison, and we filled out all the paperwork to get married, and we'd been approved and everything. And then the governor of California, Governor Newsom, who ignores me, which is way worse than just saying, go away, annoying woman. No, you can't have your husband right now. You have to wait another 13.5 months until he's free. End of his sentence. Well, dude, he got a too long sentence like many Latinos. When I taught in a prison where we met, actually in Adelanto, a GEO prison, that's how Jose and I met. Yeah, I was his English teacher in a prison. 95% of those inmates were Latino men. So, see a pattern there? Anyway, Governor Newsom outlawed the private prisons right before we could get married in one and sent Jose to Corcoran State Prison. And then the pandemic fell and everything was under lockdown for 2 years. And I got to visit Jose only one time in 2021 in Corcoran State Prison. And we had only 2 hours and we sat at a table wearing masks. And when I put my foot next to his foot, the guard told me to move it. So it's not a place I really want to go into normally. However, the day before my birthday this year, which my birthday was on Easter 2022, Easter Sunday, on Saturday before my birthday, April 16, 2022, I did go into Corcoran State Prison to visit Jose, and we were given almost 5.5 hours, and we wore masks part of the time. They let us drink sodas and eat snacks, so that was nice of them. And We got to hug briefly at the beginning with our masks on and briefly at the end with our masks on, but they let us go stand against the colorful wall and get a photo taken, and we didn't have to wear our masks, and he put his arms on me, around me, and held me close. And I wanted to stay there with him. I didn't want to leave that prison. If they could have made a little house there for us, I would have stayed. Anyway, I'm going to show you the photo. I'm going to show you 3 photos. Let me turn this around. So this is Jose in Corcoran State Prison when he first got there. Ironic that the Statue of Liberty is next to him. You see the irony there? Statue of Liberty, and that's him in his prison whites against the wall saying, Lana, I love you and I miss you. Here's a new photo of him. This was taken not long before I visited him in Corcoran. And look, he's standing in front of the Statue of Liberty. That's interesting. It's like, I'm the Statue of Liberty. I need liberty. And he's all sexy and hot. And this is us. It's a little blurry. This is us on the day before my birthday, the day before Easter, April 16, 2022, in Corcoran State Prison, in the visiting room, with a background of fields and mountains. You see? Aren't we cute? I'm blonde and white and blue-eyed, and he's brown, and he has brown eyes and black hair, and I love him, and he loves me, and we got to touch each other briefly right there. So, what's my secret? We reapplied to have an official wedding ceremony. You know, I tried telling people he was my fiance, not my husband quite yet, because we hadn't quite yet done all the paperwork and had a ceremony in the prison. And it was very confusing to people. They'd be like, what is he? Is he your boyfriend? Is he your husband? I don't get it. And try explaining that in Spanish. And I do live with a Mexican lady who speaks Spanish. I rent from her. She's got better finances than I do. Yeah. And to explain that in Spanish is really hard. And Spanish is not my first language. English is my first language, obviously. I was born in Florida. Yeah. And grew and spent my teenage years in San Diego, California, and visited Mexico and learned Spanish as a teenager. But it is hard to explain in Spanish that my husband is not quite yet my fully husband because COVID hit and we couldn't get married in the prison where he is. And we haven't had a night together yet either. Wow, imagine. So we are scheduled to get married. Yeah, in June. June is the month of weddings, isn't it? And I have wasted time on my phone just looking at pretty dresses that I might buy and pretty shoes. But we're going to get married in the visitation room where that photo of us was taken against the wall on a visitation day, on a Sunday, with many other people there. Yeah, it's scheduled for June 5, Sunday, 2021. And I have to get up really early and be there at 8:30, and I'm not a morning person, so I'm going to have to get Starbucks the night before because that always wakes me up. I'm going to get there early, and I have to show proof of my negative COVID test even now, even 2.5 years later, and I have to wear a surgical mask even for the ceremony. I guess there won't be the now you can kiss the bride thing. Maybe they will give us that. And I don't really have a friend to go with me because that friend would have to be vetted and apply to be a visitor and have a background check and get a COVID test or have 3 COVID vaccines on a card to show them. And that's kind of hard to ask people, hey, want to do that with me? You know, at we have to leave at like 7 in the morning on Sunday. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I'm sure I'd have a long line of people ready to do that. So I'm going to go alone to a prison, inside a prison. And maybe you've seen my videos of Corcoran State Prison. One of them is pretty popular. And I'm going to meet him in a visitation room full of strangers. And we're going to ask one of those strangers to be our witness. And we're going to have somebody, I'm not sure who, do a ceremony for us. So I've got this little angel. Looks kind of like a bride. Oh, I put the flag on there because, hey, I'm proud to be an American. I'm wearing my camis. Yep. Mm-hmm. I am proud to have this American flag on my angel. Yep. And those of who are not happy to be in America, please go live in Russia. And you'll see why poor Putin couldn't invade Ukraine, because they are all too addicted to alcohol. Yeah. I mean, in Russia, I saw guys in their uniform, officers on the train in the morning drinking vodka and drunk out of their minds. Okay. You can imagine why the Russians had a little trouble in Ukraine. Okay. Not that Ukraine is perfect, but I feel sorry for Putin. It's a hard life, and he's got blood cancer, and I'm pretty sure he drank a lot of vodka. Anyway, that's my American flag. Let me take it off. And now I have this angel. She's holding a little blue bird, like some of the birds Jose has drawn for me. And it says, teachers are angels who give us wings. I think that's what it says. But this looks like, let me hold it like this. This looks a little like a bride. She's got lace on the bottom and the top of her dress. And she's got blonde hair and she's got wings. And I say, I kind of don't like having blonde hair sometimes. I always get stared at. Any color hair, it doesn't matter. We're all human. And I love that Jose has black hair and brown eyes. And I kind of wish I did. I would blend in a lot better. I was attacked in every single country I taught English in. Yeah, I stand out. So this little angel is maybe like a bride. So I'm getting married June the 5th, Sunday, 2022, after waiting 2.5 years because of COVID. And I'm not bringing in a witness, going to grab someone there. And we are applying for family time, which I just found out yesterday doesn't come with the wedding package. You have to go and apply to actually have a night together. And it might not happen on the same day we're married. We might have to wait a couple of months. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm hoping somebody gives us our family time and we have at least one night together, June the 5th, Sunday, 2022, because we've waited 3.5 years to be together fully. Speaking on the phone every day for 15 minutes when you're not under lockdown is nice. I never know exactly when he's going to call. He does it when they let him. Sometimes I don't hear from him for a week or two because they're under lockdown. Beautiful cards are nice, but I want my husband. I want to marry him. And for that, I am willing to go into a prison. So maybe the minister will say, now you may kiss the prison bride. Leaving that thought with you. I've survived a lot. Maybe you have too. This is Lana Lisa Williams on Tuesday, May 17, 2022. Thanks for watching. Bye.